Some collaborations are purely strategic, and others are just for fun. But then there are those that go on to define an era. In this video, we'll look at 10 of the best collaborations in pop history. Telephone by Lady Gaga and Beyoncé. By 2010, Lady Gaga was the biggest pop star in the world, pushing the boundaries with her electropop anthems. Following their first collaboration on Beyoncé's I Am Sasha Fierce album Videophone, Gaga and Beyoncé teamed up once again for the famed Monster's second single, Telephone. The song was originally written for Britney Spears, but after she passed on it, Gaga took it for herself and invited Queen Bee to join in. While the song itself was a smash, peaking on number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and dominating the charts worldwide, it was the music video that turned Telephone into a cultural moment. It was more like a mini movie and is still one of the most memorable music videos from that era. The song remains one of pop's best collaborations ever, proving that when two superstars join forces, magic happens. Me Against the Music by Britney Spears and Madonna. By the early 2000s, Britney Spears was the princess of pop and Madonna was the queen. So when the two collaborated on Me Against the Music, it was a moment that bridged two generations of pop royalty. It was like passing the torch to the new generation. Despite the star power, Me Against the Music wasn't a major chart hit in the US. It peaked on number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it did much better internationally. However, the collaboration was never just about the song. It was about the cultural impact. Months earlier, Britney and Madonna had already shocked the world with their infamous kiss at the 2003 MTV VMAs. That moment alone fueled anticipation for their duet, making it one of the most talked about collaborations of the decade. The music video also added to the song's legend. The two superstars sounded great together, and it is still one of the most iconic collabs in pop history. Save Your Tears remix by The Weeknd and Ariana Grande. The original Save Your Tears, released on The Weeknd's 2020 album After Hours, was already a hit. But when Ariana hopped on the remix in 2021, the song skyrocketed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, cementing its place as one of the greatest pop collaborations in recent memory. Ari's addition to Save Your Tears wasn't just a simple feature. Her delicate but powerful vocals added an extra layer of emotion, seamlessly blending with The Weeknd's delivery. The harmonies between the two artists elevated the song, giving it a fresh appeal, even for those who had already loved the original. Their chemistry was undeniable, helping it dominate streaming platforms. This wasn't the first time The Weeknd and Ariana worked together, and it won't be the last, but it is still their biggest collaboration. It proved how a well-done remix can breathe new life into a song, as it solidified their status as one of the most successful duos in modern pop music. The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica. Few duets in pop and R&B history have created as much buzz as Brandy and Monica's The Boy Is Mine. Released in 1998, the song played off the idea of two women fighting over the same man, a theme that also fueled rumors of real-life tension between the two singers. The song was inspired by Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney's The Girl Is Mine, but Brandy and Monica made it their own, with smooth melodies and a dramatic back-and-forth dynamic that made the song feel like a musical showdown. Beyond the song's narrative, The Boy Is Mine was an absolute banger. It spent 13 weeks on number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it the longest-running female duet at number 1 at the time. The song was certified 2 times platinum and helped both Brandy and Monica cement their places as R&B legends. The chemistry between the artists only added to the song's legacy. While the two artists had real-life tension behind the scenes, they later reconciled and even performed the song together a few times. However, The Boy Is Mine remains their biggest and most iconic collaboration. Even decades later, the song is still considered one of the greatest R&B duets of all time, proving that sometimes a little drama can make for pop perfection. Beautiful Liar by Beyoncé and Shakira. When Beyoncé and Shakira joined forces for Beautiful Liar in 2007, it was an instant cultural moment. The collaboration between these two global superstars, one reigning as the queen of R&B and pop and the other as the queen of Latin pop, was a dream come true for their fans. The song blended Middle Eastern and Latin influences for a smooth, hypnotic beat, creating an excellent vibe. Like The Boy Is Mine, the song's lyrics centered around two women realizing that they have been deceived by the same man, but instead of fighting, they choose to walk away together, giving a twist on the usual love triangle trope. From a commercial standpoint, Beautiful Liar was a massive success. It debuted on number 94 on the Billboard Hot 100, but skyrocketed to number 3 in just 1 week, making it one of the biggest jumps in chart history at the time. It became one of the most defining tracks of the mid-2000s. The music video played a huge role in its impact, featuring Beyonce and Rihanna mirroring each other's movements so perfectly that viewers could barely tell them apart. Their chemistry was undeniable, and their mesmerizing dance moves only added to the song's popularity. Beautiful Liar remains one of the most recognizable duets in modern pop, proving that when two queens unite, the result is nothing short of legendary. Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars' collaboration on Die With a Smile came out of nowhere. When it was released on August 16, 2024, it seamlessly blends elements of pop, soul, and soft rock to create a sound that feels nostalgic but new. It was an unexpected and spontaneous collaboration, which felt like an instant classic when you first heard it. Die With a Smile became a huge commercial success, topping the Billboard Global 200 chart for 10 consecutive weeks and becoming one of the biggest hits of 2024, now sitting on more than 2 billion streams just 6 months after its initial release. Its popularity was further cemented at the 2025 Grammy Awards, where Gaga and Bruno won the Best Pop Duo Group Performance for the song. It is an amazing song that will undoubtedly become an all-time classic. No Air by Jordin Sparks and Chris Brown. In 2008, Jordin Sparks and Chris Brown delivered one of the most iconic R&B duets of the decade with No Air. At the time, both artists were at the peak of their rising stardom. Jordin had just won American Idol, and Chris Brown was solidifying himself as one of R&B's biggest names. The song's dramatic production perfectly suited the voices of both artists. Their sounds blended seamlessly, with lyrics about feeling lost and breathless without a loved one. No Air became a heartbreaking anthem. It was a massive commercial success, peaking on number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and selling over 3 million copies in the US alone. Over the years, No Air has stood the test of time, still being recognized as one of the greatest modern duets. I still listen to it from time to time. It never gets old. Despite the controversy surrounding Chris's career, the song remains an essential part of the late 2000s pop and R&B history. Besides, it was released before all that. One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. When Mariah Carey teamed up with Boyz II Men for One Sweet Day, they didn't just create a hit, they created history. The song was released as a second single from Mariah's 1995 album Daydream. With both artists at the peak of their careers, the song was an instant classic, debuting on number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and staying there for a record-breaking 16 consecutive weeks, a record that wouldn't be surpassed until 2019. What made One Sweet Day so impactful was its raw emotion. Both Mariah and Boyz II Men captured grief, which made it universally relatable. Even decades later, the song remains one of the most iconic collaborations in music history, as it is still recognized as one of the greatest R&B ballads ever. Endless Love by Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. When Diana Ross and Lionel Richie came together for Endless Love in 1981, they created one of the most iconic love songs of all time. Written by Lionel for the film of the same name, the song is the perfect ballad, which showcases the chemistry between the two Motown legends. Their passionate vocal performances, combined with the amazing production, made it an instant classic. The song became a massive hit, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 9 weeks and solidifying its legacy as one of the greatest duets ever recorded. Beyond its commercial success, Endless Love became one of the most defining love songs for generations. The two artists' voices complement each other beautifully, blending effortlessly to create a song that remains a wedding staple. Even decades later, its impact is undeniable, inspiring a lot of covers to this day. Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. Released in 1982, Ebony and Ivory was a powerful collaboration between Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. The song, written by Paul, used the black and white keys of a piano as a metaphor for racial harmony, calling for unity. It may sound corny now, but at the time it was a huge statement. The song was a huge hit, becoming a #1 smash on the Billboard Hot 100, spending 7 weeks at the top. What made Ebony and Ivory stand out wasn't just its message, but also the way it blended the unique musical strengths of both artists. At a time when racial tensions were high, it felt like a necessary and timely anthem. However, the song wasn't without its critics. Some felt this message was overly simplistic, reducing complex racial issues into an easy metaphor. But it is still one of the most memorable collaborations of the 1980s and an all-time classic. Which all-time classic collaborations did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.